Get ready to get in the game. Stretch, strengthen, live, and thrive. You can be a winning athlete in the game of life. It's the Peel Appeal with author and corrective exercise specialist Matt Peel.
Hey, this is Matt Peel with the Peel Appeal podcast. How are you today? What's going on out there in your world? Because literally you could be anywhere on this planet. That's what I love about doing this, is just who I'm reaching out to. People in Canada, the Ukraine, in the UK, here in America, wherever it may be and wherever you're at in the world today. I hope I can make today even better as a result of listening to this episode. So I've been having a lot of guests from literally all over the planet past few months. But today is a little different. Today is just me, and I'm talking about something that is kind of hot and trendy out there, but has been really in existence since the beginning of human time, if you can believe that or not. So I'm sure at this point in time, you've heard something about creatine. Maybe you're using it, maybe you're not using it, maybe you weren't really sure, or not really sure what it can do for you, and why is it even out there? You know, there's various forms you see. Sometimes it's a pre-workout, sometimes it's by itself, tablet, powder, you name it, right? So there's some myths out there and some not sure facts. And then there's the science that is behind it and why it could be good for you. So today we're going to talk about, is it safe? Is creatine safe for you? And do you, or you're at right now listening, do you need to use it? Because that's the important part, right? Is where you're at today. So let's talk about what creatine is. So creatine is actually a phosphate, and it's part of our bodies naturally. We have creatine right now in our bodies, and you may be using it just as you're sitting around to an extent, but you already have creatine in your body. It's also found in red meat. So if you've had a hamburger, if you had steak, if you've had any type of red meat, you're also consuming a source of creatine. So what it is part of what's called an adenosine triphosphate molecule, or ATP, which is an energy molecule. Maybe you've heard of ATP, maybe you haven't. So technically, and I'll give some technical terms on this, just kind of try and lay it out for you from there. So what ATP is, it's something called the adenosine, and I'm going to look up and a little bit about what that actually is for you so you can get a little understanding of it. So an ATP molecule is a nitrogenous base consisting of adenine, then a sugar molecule called ribose, and then it has three phosphate, or basically three creatine phosphates attached to it. So what happens when you're using creatine, ATP, is that ATP is the first energy system when we think about in our body for any type of activity that's between, say, 0 and 15 seconds. What happens is you use this ATP molecule, it breaks off one of the phosphate molecules, or creatine phosphate, or phosphocreatine, same thing, molecules off that molecule, and now you have this ADP, or adenosine di, meaning 2 phosphate, as the result of using this energy molecule, right? So anything, whether it's a sprint, a jump, a push-up, the first few reps of any type of exercise, or even if you're just lifting a trash can and taking it out, that first lift, that energy system that you're using, or picking up a case of water, or dog food, a bag of dog food, that first energy that you're using comes from ATP. So use a molecule boom, real quick. And then that creatine phosphate breaks off and it's just kind of free. So what can happen is that free molecule, that free creatine phosphate molecule, can then find itself another ADP molecule, reattach, and now that molecule can be reused again. So what we do when we ingest creatine from a supplement source is we're putting more of these free phosphate molecules into our body, so that as we use the ATP molecule and that phosphate breaks off, in addition to that one breaking off, we have a whole bunch of others that can reattach readily and easily to that ADP molecule, so that we can have more of that short burst of energy. So what does that mean for you, kind of from a, we'll say, basic function and understanding what I'm trying to tell you about? Is that's how we're supplied with power and speed, and mainly power, again, say when we're talking about working out. So by having that extra phosphate in your system to reattach to that molecule, it can help you in the end get that extra rep, right? So what does that do for you? Well, over workouts and weeks and months, it can help you become stronger and preserve your muscle mass by ingesting, supplementing with creatine, or again, if you red meat, then you're again, because in our muscles automatically, it can help give us that extra bit of energy to give that extra, because once we get past activities with 15 seconds, then we switch energy systems. And I'm not going to talk about that too much right now. But by supplying ourselves with this extra phosphates in there, it allows us to now get that extra or get that extra rep, or get that extra jump in while we're doing our activities, or maybe be able to pick up a little bit more, heavier garbage can, right? Because we have some more in us and we can reattach that phosphate. So supplementing just brings all that in. And to date, there's no negative side effects for people that supplement with creatine, whether it's a man, a woman, teenager, because it's something already naturally found in our bodies are used to it and using it. So what people might fear is, oh my God, they've heard about loading. I need to go through this loading phase if I'm just using creatine. I don't buy into that. When I first started on it, and I'll get to my history in a minute, there was this thing called a loading phase. So you had to drink it 3 or 4 times a day for a week just to get it in your body. I don't really buy into that. I think that's more of a marketing ploy. Use more of the product. I don't feel that there's a need. And then the science says you have to do a week of this loading just to get the extra creatine and have it be effective in your system. So some pre-workout powders have it in it, some don't. If I'm going to use a pre-workout powder, and I use Herbalife's pre-workout powder, it has it in there because that's what I want. I don't want just a bunch of, we'll call it crack, speed, cocaine, kind of joking, and these amino acids to help with vasodilation, which are great, but I want the creatine involved in it. So if you look on a pre-workout powder, and it's going to have a listing of all sorts of information, then it's going to have something called proprietary blend. So first of all, supplements are not food, not require FDA approval, right? And that's a good thing. So if you look at a pre-workout powder and you see a bunch of things that you're not quite sure about, are they going to help me? Do I feel flush? I'm sweating. I have, feel like I'm going 1,000 miles an hour. That's everything in that supplement except for the creatine. The creatine itself, creatine monohydrate, is not caffeine. It doesn't give you the boost of a caffeine or dilate your blood vessels like some of these other amino acids that are in there. So if you bought just straight creatine monohydrate in a powder or a pill, make sure you look on the label and it just says creatine monohydrate. It doesn't say anything else in there. You can typically mix it with any type of liquid that you want. You can make it with a shake. You can just shake it up in with water. You can stick it in, drink it with coffee. Whatever you want to put it in is fine. It just depends on your taste. Different brands of straight creatine monohydrate might find a little differently, so it mixes better with water. Some might not mix as well. Again, if you're just looking for straight creatine, I can always help you with that. Again, I use a Herbalife kind, or can find something else. Whatever works best for you. When are you going to use it? Well, you're typically going to drink it before your workout. I don't mean like 5 minutes before and walk in, because like anything else, you have to digest, you have to absorb, you have to give your body time for that to happen. So I'd say between minimum 30 to 45 minutes before a workout, you can have creatine in whatever source that you have. By the time you get in, your body should have digested everything, and now you have those phosphates available and ready for you. You can potentially take it after a workout to help with recovery, and just apply more energy into your system. It doesn't really matter if you take it. I'm not gonna say it doesn't matter, but if you don't take it after workout, you're still fine. I don't take it after my workout. So again, it's usually flavorless. Still throw it into your protein shake. And if you put a bunch more phosphates that are already naturally found in your body in, the worst you're going to do is pee them out, right? So because you're going to typically drink it with a liquid. So I haven't seen or read any research that says I can have too much. So what's my story on creatine? Right? You went, well, Matt, I mean, you're using it. How long? Say what's been going on? Do you have side effects? Have you grown a third and fourth arm or a sixth toe? And the answer is no, not yet. I'm still waiting to see if maybe I'll get that sixth toe or that third arm, and then I'll let you know. But no side effects of creatine. I've been using it since I was 21, maybe 22, and a good friend who was just getting into bodybuilding and getting into some sport nutrition was using it, and he was getting good results. So I said, well, shit, I'm 21, 22 years old. Of course, I want to get bigger and be 6'5", 225 and absolutely ripped. So I've yet come 6'5" and 225, but that's another story. So I've been using creatine for the better part of more than 25 years for every workout. And I've had zero negative side effects. Positive side effects are that I'm bigger, I'm stronger, I've preserved my muscle mass, especially now as I'm recording this, I'm approaching the 50-year-old mark, and have had great success. And I definitely recommend it to all of my clients. My clients are on it, men and women. Ladies, yes, creatine is fabulous for you to preserve muscle mass. You're not going to turn into a man. You're not going to become 6'5", 225 pounds and just look like a female bodybuilder who stepped in on stage. Okay, that's a whole other regimen that they're doing. And again, not going to go down that rabbit hole. But the research is there, ladies. Listen to some of these other podcasts out there, like Kristen. God, now I can't think of Kristen's last name. Jacob. I can't think of her last name. It's going to kill me. So I'm sorry, Kristen, guest on my podcast too. Cynthia Thurlow, I think, is another lady out there, and she definitely promotes creatine for women. So use it. I highly suggest you use it. Man, woman, teenager, it can help you preserve your muscle mass, get stronger, improve, increase in size if that's what you're looking for, again, with your volume. But again, to increase your size, you have to lift more weight and more often. So again, ladies, you're not going to all of a sudden jump up into size. I promise you, right? Because you're not lifting as many times a week for as many reps and as many sets as one a female bodybuilder is, and two, say a typical male might do. Okay, so don't worry. Creatine, I promise, it's good for you, and you're going to enjoy it, man. I mean, you're going to love the results. You're going to feel better. You're going to look better. You can preserve your muscle mass. You're going to have more confidence. You're going to change the shape of your body. And at the end of the day, that's what we want to do. We want to change the shape so that when we put our clothes on and we look in the mirror, we go, damn, I look good, right? That's why we work out. Let's face it. I mean, that's the main goal, so that we feel good about ourselves and look in the mirror and say, I look great. And if you're in the dating scene, so you look great, potential people are dating. If you're with someone, then you say, yeah, I look great for my partner, some person I'm dating. So definitely use creatine. Please get out there and use it. So to wrap up, I want to say thank you for listening. If you're not subscribing to the Peel Appeal podcast already, please do wherever you get your podcasts. Like it, share it, tell other people about it. Also, go to mattpeel.com. Check out Stretch at your desk and Strengthen at your desk. You can click on that first button when the guy says, I'm in pain or I want to get out of pain, and click over to my online programs. They can help you stretch your way, strengthen your way right at your desk without equipment, without anything else, to help you with your posture, with your energy, with how you feel throughout the day, and get you started with feeling your best all the time. So again, mattpeel.com. You can order my book on there too. Check out Stretch at your desk and Strengthen at your desk. And until next time, I hope you have an amazing day. And this is Matt Peel, the Peel Appeal podcast. I will see you later.
Are you ready to get in the game? Get personal help, sign up for our newsletter, and pick up your copy of Athlete in the Game of Life, the book, all at mattpeel.com. Thanks for listening.